after you have this current season's banner, then you'll be good to do I think it's like random for any of the previous seasons that you may have missed. I spent so much on Gacha a few years ago. Anniversaries went too hard. Yeah, no, they can definitely wrap you up. I don't want Nintendo to go down that path, but you know, I think a game like when I played Fall Guys a little bit, I ended up paying for the game because I thought that game was super sick when it like seeing it at E3 when I think it was like the Devolver Digital conference or whatever. They like showed it off. Me and my wife were super hyped, and I was like really really happy. But yeah, that's where I'm at. I think a game like Fall Guys, like there's an area for it, but it's not as in your face and it doesn't feel as predatory. But there's enough cool stuff to like entice you. More me thinks of a me thing, but I actually like that Splatoon isn't on other consoles. There's like playing a game that not everyone else plays. I think that's fair. I think there's a lot of temptations for companies to like expand, and like the hyper niche thing that Splatoon and Nintendo does very well, at a certain point they may not do that as well. So yeah, no, I feel you. I would like to see more people like play the game though. I think Splatoon's super sick. I never really enjoyed the whole like battle royale games. Like none of them really attached to me. I want my arena shooters back, and I think the paint-based mechanic of Splatoon could be used in a lot of creative ways. So hopefully this is somewhat trendy in the future. I was told you get chunks if you get a gold banner again. So like some people got multiples on like the first season, for example, and there were no other banners. So like if you have all the banners, then you get chunks, but I'm almost certain that you can get the other banners. It'll always give you this season's banner first if you don't have it, and then I think it gives you a random banner, but I could be wrong. I know that the data miners have data mined, but I'm not actually sure. Double check with them, but I'm pretty sure you get another banner. I haven't gotten any gold or silver capsules in my entire Splatoon currently, so I couldn't tell you from personal experience, only through anecdotes. Like since launch, I haven't gotten one. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. Anyways, Rainmaker on this map, one thing we'll see really good and we'll highlight again and again and again and again is like there's a couple of phases to the way that all of this kind of goes. And thank you everyone. That I kind of went on a little bit of a rant, quite a bit of a tangent. So I appreciate y'all sticking with me. Appreciate anyone that y'all didn't riot for me going on stupid tangents. But anyways, on this map, so like there's a mid phase where we're fighting for mid, and like backliners might be sitting, you know, like over here and stuff. But all the fights basically happening in mid. It can still happen over here as well. But like this is kind of phase 1 on this map. Phase 2 is breaking through this right side. So let's say if we were blue team on the aggression, stage 2 is like this fight over here. So we're trying to break through this way, and this snipe area is super contested. This left side is very interesting. It's accessible to both teams, but it's hard to retake from either side. So if we can get this area, it's super strong, but in a lot of cases, you probably are not going to be able to, because it's once a team has control of it, they should have a weapon that can hold it pretty decently. I think with a ballpoint, we actually have quite a bit of opportunity to deal with it. But the biggest thing is like there's going to be a lot of chaos happening on this right side. And we'll see with our positioning here that we'll have buckets attacking over this ledge. We'll have buckets. I love the positioning here. We have buckets hitting like this area, like right here, like behind this little pillar. And then the other thing that we'll see is that after we get the first checkpoint, so like once we're able to get checkpoint, we see them use the side. So this side right here of the Rainmaker podium, whether it's fully up or, you know, when the checkpoint happens and the thing like goes down, regardless, you're able to use a squid surge off of that onto this snipe area. And we'll see them use this snipe area to go from this right side and start taking aggressive positions onto the left side. And that's really, really important. Because if you try to push forward, if you sit on this like this lighter colored ramp right here, this is like a death pit, basically. Like all of this. So yeah, so that's kind of stage 2. And then stage 3 is getting control of like this area, kind of. It's like this team is stationed over here. You know, like this is the defensive team and this is the offensive team. And most of this is like death pits. Like this is all a death pit. This is all a death pit over here. And then you're taking positions over here, taking positions over here. You might be on snipe. Defending team's going to want to be over here. They might be back here or up here. And, you know, we either need specials to break through the pits or, you know, find a pick with one of our weapons. So this is kind of like just the overall approach to how this map gets played. And then how we go about doing this properly, how we find advantages, how we find picks. That's always the fun part. But both teams, you know, you kind of have to adhere to the structure of the way that the game plays. But both teams do a phenomenal job. And again, this is a match that going back, if you watch every, like, because I reviewed or I recorded so that you can go back and watch the POVs on YouTube of every single player. If you watch this game through the perspective of every single player, you will find new things about the way to play this map or the way to play your weapon. It's so fascinating. I love the high level gameplay. It's so good. I learned so much. So anyways, that's where we're at now. The other thing with this map is, as related to some of the weapons, is as a splash. The splashes are obviously going to want to paint. Crabs are super important. Sometimes you'll crab over on, you know, your ramp, or you might crab on snipe. You might be able to crab onto mid. That's actually something we'll see quite a few times here, is that if you crab onto mid, you can actually get, I think you can get angles like even back here and stuff, but they do such a good job, both teams, of highlighting the max range of your weapons and what that enables into the overall composition of this game. So yeah, crabs will be doing that. Ledges will be camped, and you know, ledges even around mid, but like this is where the machines like really shine. And then for the ballpoint, so like the two X factors kind of, I mean, I don't know if I'd call ballpoint necessarily an X factor, except for the fact of how fast it actually gets inkjet. The inkjet is an X factor because you just have it always. It's disgusting. But the carbon as well is an X factor. And like both of them, if you're not positioned properly and you like don't respect the inkjet from them, or just the sharking nature and the up close volatility of a weapon like the Carbon Deco, these are kind of the X factors where they can really change the game with some really good inkjets or, you know, some really good sharks. So that's kind of like at the overall landscape of this game, this is what we're thinking about. Obviously machines can get a ton of value, you know, like they sit in a position like this, they just shoot over the snipe and it's like incredible value. But both teams kind of expect to see that when those things happen. So in a lot of cases, they'll get value by spacing you out, but a lot of times you won't find picks necessarily. But so that's why I'm considering these X factors, but all of these weapons have ways to turn the tide and like have huge plays in this game. And for the most part, we see that through all of it. Yo, what's up, Spanish Armada? Welcome in. But yeah, this game was, oh man. I said it on Twitter, this might be the most exciting, interesting, this is the best viewing and analytic experience in terms of Splatoon 3 that I've seen just so far. Obviously I haven't seen everything, but out of all the games that I've watched, and I've watched quite a few, this had everything. Also, can we take a screenshot of this screen here? And when people say, oh, dude, this is me simping for Foam Stars, Square Enix, if you're listening, I got you. Can someone take a screenshot here and just say, how do I know what's going on in mid when this is the game. This is Splatoon. There's the visual nightmare of what's going on. Sorry, that was my simping for Foam Stars. Please send me a PS5. I got you. I got you. I'm gonna be real though. That screenshot was a little bit like handpicked. Like they're not wrong, the overall point, but there's so many of those moments in Splatoon that it's like, I don't know. It's very I don't know. I don't know what point I'm trying to make. Right. No, the cost, no matter the cost, is the wrong approach. I want it for no cost. Gotta get that PS5 for no cost. And I'm willing to sell out however means are necessary. As long as it's a corporation buying it for me, everything's free for you all. Splatoon's equally hard to see. Yeah, I mean, Foam Stars, it looks uglier, like just objectively, but both games have visual clutter issues. Splatoon has a lot of polish to it to where it's not as bad, but like the nature of the genre is like that's gonna happen. There's crazy just moments where like, I don't know. Anyway, Square Enix, I got you. Give me the hookup. I'll have me featured on whatever you're selling. So yeah. Anyways, we get pop. Our team has triple fizzies. Our team, another thing that we want to consider with our comp is like triple fizzy against triple burst bombs. Like we get pops always. And that's something that we can potentially take advantage of. I think it's something we do end up taking advantage of, but you know, we go for the early pop because our team has the early pop advantage. I'll sell you mine with Hogwarts Legacy for 1 point. I don't know what that currency even really means. I'm scared to ask. Yo, what's up, Julie? Hello, hello. Speaking of cracked streamers, shout out to Julie. Been streaming a lot of Splatoon lately. Always a fun time. Hope you're doing well. Hope life's treating you well. Hopefully you have some nice, either comfortable or exciting weekend plans. So one thing that I will say that I think both teams do really well this game. These pillars in mid, I do not use them or leverage them nearly as much as both of these teams. And sometimes, like in this kind of scenario, people will use it to poke, and certain times people will use it to bait. Sometimes they use it for cover, which I think most people usually use for cover. But like, again, even I think Kiver in a certain spot, like crabs over on these things, and like the little extra height makes a difference in the way that the value that they get out of the crab. I don't know if they get a pick in that spot, but it's just like, it's super creative. So anyways, thought I'd mention. Yeah, we're unable to find the pick with our inkjet. So now they have double crab and we're going to lose all of mid for effectively free. The one thing I will say is really good from the blue team here is that only one person goes down with them using like 2 specials. Okay, I lied. Me when I lied. My bad. I forgot about this part. I forgot about the... But okay, getting to this point, it was unfortunate afterwards, but getting to this point in a 3v4 and having a special up is actually really important. But yo, Square Enix, I got these screenshots for days. Don't worry, I'll defend your game. If there's NFTs, then I'm out. But if it is free of NFTs, which at this point seems less likely, I got you on the screenshots. There's visual clutter on this game always. I'll keep the lines in here and pretend that like what I'm drawing on Epic Pen is part of the game as well, and just add to the visual clutter. I got you. I'll sim for you. So yeah, at this point, we like, as I was mentioning before, once we lose control of the snipe area, and especially being at a player disadvantage, we can't go for this snipe again unless like, you know, we have a special to retake that space. But this space, like the enemy team can't push it because if they push past this podium, they're in danger. They can die to the ball point. Our Slosher machine can like push up and punish them. But as the defending team, this is a really important spot to hold. But with 2 of our teammates going down and the enemy team starting to push toward our ramp, like we have to assume at this point that there's going to be a machine. In this case, they only have 1 machine, but like their machine is going to be just hurling shots, like sloshing machine shots over the snipe area. So like we can't like look to climb up. You know, like I really like the way that Phantar's playing in this spot, because if they end up trying to climb up here, they're done. And they throw the first checkpoint. Depending on the speed at which the yellow team's able to come in, we may or may not have a way to stop this, and we may look to pop Booyah Bomb as an option to stall the game so we don't give up first checkpoint for free. But again, just minor the way that this map is. And backline, this ballpoint would love to be up here, but we've already given up this entire ramp, so we can't fight for that anymore. And so both people on the blue team just understand that we can't take this area because it's not available to us anymore. So we have the Booyah Bomb going out to stall so they can't get the first checkpoint. This allows the 2 people that got exploded over here to like help on first checkpoint. The other thing that's happening here is that the ballpoint is holding this right side and looking for potential picks. Yeah, and you'll see that they take a little bit of high ground, partially to give us a little bit more vision, and partially so that something like a Carbon may have a harder time camping us. But we can get some paint and make the situation awkward. We would love to be here and directly attack the Rainmaker, but we can't. And yeah, we notice that people are trying to punish us, and we reposition accordingly. Unfortunately, I think we probably overcommit to the splash in that kind of scenario and we get punished for it, but either way, I like the ideas. I like, maybe we were a little bit committing a little bit too hard onto the play there. Oh, but yeah, this is I think this is Scar using that the hop. Okay, they just climb up this way. So yeah, you can also just climb it this way and jump, but you can also like squid surge off of this left side and get on top the same way. But like running past to take space is dangerous. It's a lot safer to jump in, like, in order to get to this left side, get to it using this snipe area. And because of everything that developed before, they now have control of this this snipe. I just call it snipe. This area for free. I love the movement. And just really heads up play. We're actually able to get this stop. Yeah, a little bit fortunate to get the stop there. A little unfortunate we didn't get the stop early, like when they were initially climbing, but it was good that we got the pick before the Carbon got us. So now we're back in a position. I'm gonna move it back a little bit. There's so much happening. Again, this is like a game. There's so much chaos and so much happening. You literally have to watch from like everyone's POV and you'll find new stuff every time. So again, good understanding from the rest of our team. Like, we have a machine on Cappy that can potentially look to stop the Rainmaker, because this saves us a bunch of time if we're able to stop the Rainmaker before they get the first checkpoint. But as a team, we can't commit to it. Our splash and our machine coming in, we have to fight for this right side. Oops. Because if we try to like go for the Rainmaker stop ourselves, like we completely give up, like we throw the game basically. So we're composed. We know that this is our job right now, and focus on these people in front and try to take back control of this right side. Volti's going for the continuation play, and we're able to, use coverage and stay alive long enough not to get splatted. I don't know how close we were to actually getting splatted by the vertical flick there, but it worked out for us. Nice, good shots. Yeah, and again, Phantar plays super aggressive sloshing machine, always looking to take space whenever there's an opportunity. I can't overstate how much value they're able to provide. This play is like a weird scramble position. So like these, like the decision to use Booyah Bomb, like it makes sense, but this whole play is very weird. I can't lie. Oh no. Oh no, that's a feels bad moment. But we're able to start taking space because of the disruption that we provide when we drop here. In a lot of cases, if the enemy team cheats up this ramp too much and their entire team is sitting up here, then we can just drop directly and we're behind their entire team. This drop that we're looking for is really sick, but Phantar notices that, you know, they're not all up there, so I can't drop and start taking fights. So I'm going to go wide and like, you know, with the 4v3, I kind of assume that the rest of my team is able to stall a little bit. In this kind of scenario, I mean, there's only one way you can go because they just throw a Booyah Bomb at you. But yeah, I'm very scared of a Carbon in this kind of scenario. I think we're very fortunate that the Carbon throws an auto bomb there. But, you know, the Booyah Bomb would have been fine either way. Like we initially had it on the two people that were around our ramp, and that would have helped our team, but then we had to use it for survival. Yeah, just being annoying, yeah. And like, it's so good. Because in a lot of cases, a lot of teams in this kind of scenario, instead of dropping, so I'll bring it back one more time before you drop. It's very easy in this kind of scenario to just want to sit up on this ledge, like have your team, now that we have snipe, we can just sit up here and we have high ground and we're just comfortable like trying to take this fight. And that's like, it's something that people can get baited into and like feeling comfortable. But again, this is a spot where we want to take space when we can. So this drop's really good. And no, from the overhead, you immediately get behind them and then you paint their exit off. It's just like, it's so good. So now like it gives you a buffer so that you're not going to get ran up on by like the Carbon potentially. Obviously there's a little bit of a area that they can use to get through, but you know, it gives you enough space to be able to get the Booyah Bomb out and be able to start looking to make a plan. And just this whole scenario gets thrown just for a loop. Because now Carbon's like no longer looking for these types of aggressive plays to break open the map for the first checkpoint. And your team has a special that they can use and like look to take control back. So this is a very chaotic play, but you make a lot of very deliberate decisions to swing it into your team's favor. And again, you're just combining the Booyah Bomb and the pressure forward with Inkjet. And so we should be able to clean up a lot of this stuff. Should have had the way we close our eyes. Sadness. Kipper's obviously a, you know, super good player, but it's unfortunate we don't get the pick. Team's able to clean it up, so not too much harm. But this is now, so we basically skip, or we didn't really skip phase one of like fighting in mid, but we ended up having such a clean retake. Because like before, the enemy team was kind of in this phase two, like looking to fight for this area. And then between the way that we dropped and using our specials, like pairing our specials together, we're able to skip through this part of fighting for mid again. And then now we're on offense and now we're fighting for this area. And so again, the positioning here, I want to highlight is so good. And a couple of things to point through. I'm actually going to just play it through a couple of different positions. I want to go through Phantar's POV specifically because this is really good spots. I don't know if Bab's still here, but I was talking about like positioning on Scorch Rainmaker because we were playing that yesterday, and like the way that these two buckets pair to just get a bunch of pressure and like what they're checking, there's just so much to take from this kind of gameplay here. It's like we're looking to poke over here, we'll end up, you know, wanting to get shots over here, We can get directly, you know, over the podium potentially. We can, like, there's a lot of common areas that people are going to want to pop out from, especially something like a carbon where they just need like half a second of space and then they'll just like explode. And we're constantly keeping those areas in check with our weapon. I don't know what this crab. That's such a, like, it's a gamble you have to take, but the discipline and the positioning of both machines in this spot, like having to play against double machine, you cannot crab in this spot. Yo, Squiddy Schools, welcome in. How is everyone? The weekend is almost here. We almost made it to the end of the week. But I hope the stream was well. Hope games were well. I was a little bit busy today. I'm not sure exactly what was going on today. But hopefully whatever school activities that we're going through were a good time. Welcome in. Thank you so much. Dr. Pika. It's a Doovie raid. No, we're a fan of Devi and around here. Every raid is a Doovie raid for sure. Bot reviews like Tuesday. Nice. Hopefully everyone's brain is properly expanded from all of the knowledge. So welcome in. We're going over, Fantar was kind enough to provide us some match footage from one of the I think it was like a qualifier tournament for the French in Fantar. If you're here, feel free to correct me. But I think this was like the French qualifier for like all the Nintendo stuff that's going on. So we went through a Mahi's Zones game. I think Alliance Rogue ended up winning this 2-1. But I was saying it before, this is like one of the best Splatoon games that I've ever watched. Also, Sauceful Boon, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate you. Everyone loves Devi. Yeah, Devi's the GOAT. Oh, just a French tournament? Gotcha. So Scott, thank you for the clarification. But there was a lot of, you know, really good French teams. I feel like France is just like a powerhouse when it comes to competitive Splatoon. Semifinals, I think. Gotcha. Thank you. In VPPL, welcome in. So yeah, with double bucket, any sort of popping out crab in this area or even over here, it's tough. But when it comes to the overall landscape of this map, like if you crab back here, you lose out on a lot of value. So there aren't a ton of options to like where you want to crab. Because if you crab here, like if they start committing to the Rainmaker stop, then it's great. But with the positioning that we have as the blue team, if they look for a crab in a safer spot, we just give the space. We just back up and we wait for the crab to be over and then they don't have crab. So I don't blame Gray here for like looking for this kind of play, but I love the immediate reaction from the core of the team and the machines, you know, and having double machines when it comes to, you know, fighting during the stage 2 area is super clutch. I think is one thing with their team comp that they can get a ton of value of. This is the tourney that won the online vote. I think that's, oh, is this that tournament? Oh, sick. I thought there was like a finals or something going on. Or did that already happen? No, there's like, I think 3 votes or something. Oh, but I didn't know that they like had that tournament immediately after. That's super sick. Nice call. See, y'all are a lot smarter than I am. Wait a minute. Okay. So yeah. And because we get this pick, so we have a player advantage. And we'll notice the same thing that we noticed previously when 2 of our teammates went down over here when yellow team was pushing in. But like once they've lost control of this area, like they can't try to push back and like climb up these walls. Like neither team can really control this area because no team wants to approach it. With us having a player advantage on the blue team, we might look to cross back over. The same thing that I think Scar did previously when they climbed up here and they push to help control over left side, we might see a potential similar thing here. But obviously we're looking to get the checkpoint, but we still can't, like, you know, they have double crab, so even though they got the initial pick on the one, they pop the other crab because they have to stall because they're you know, yellow team's at a player disadvantage. So now, because blue can look to start actually getting the checkpoint, now this crab up here makes a lot more sense because it can actually cover this area and it provides some extra paint, so there's an opportunity for the other people to sneak through potentially. But exactly as I said, it's just, you know, they use crab, we can't push it. They ended up using the Trizuka as well, but we give the space, we give up ramp, and then we immediately take it back once all the specials are done. And yeah, they used 3 specials there. And again, I can't overstate the poking and the constant movement. So like, after this Booyah Bomb comes out, that's the 3rd special. We can start looking to reposition after this Booyah Bomb comes out. So I love the rotations here from Fantar. We want to hold as many ledges and pressure as much as we potentially can. So, you know, we're watching this ledge because we don't want the carbon to drop on our team. So we initially check it and get some paint, immediately move because like the carbon's not biting and they're not going to drop because we pressure it. So now we move and we look for another spot and we start poking at other places. And then the other crab that we initially stopped at the beginning, now that one's coming in, and then, you know, we put we're in a safe enough position that we rotate again to the left side. And it's just like this constant movement and rotation and has so much pressure. And then that's a super sick inkjet over on the left side. We'll go through it in a second, but I think we should be able to get ooh. I'm gonna be honest, I did not even notice that. Was that something that you all called out, or maybe someone got maybe they threw an initial bomb? Oh, I saw it for a quick second. Someone else probably called it out. Okay, yeah. All right. That was a nice 180 just to get some damage so that we were able to actually get the checkpoint. But the one thing that I did want to mention, and again, this goes back to the macro level, like special usage. So this is like all one continuous play. Oh, it was a call out. Yeah. I was about to say, there's no way that you like saw that initially. So Gray initially has crab and goes for crab on this area that if buckets are ready for, like this crab, they just need like a split second and a target to one shot. You shoot one turret shot and then you do 90 with both parts of the X-Blow on the crab and you can one shot anyone. So like this idea is totally valid, is dangerous, but is valid. And then, you know, we're able to immediately respawn, get the pick. Because we do that, you know, enemy teams trying to stall, they pop their specials because they're at a player disadvantage and they end up using 2 of them. And they end up using a 3rd one just to prevent them from moving through. And so now we're going to get our specials. Like we're going to have a special advantage if we're able to slow down the game for long enough. And that's why we're playing super like methodical here. We're just keeping ledges in check. We know that it's almost our turn to be able to play the game and start using our own specials. And this patience is just super, super, super clean, you know. And while all this is happening, again, we talked about the rotation from Fantar, checking this area, then moving over here, checking these areas, and then, you know, they use another crab, so Fantar rotates back to the left side. But we're basically just stalling for as long as we can for us to get our specials and, you know, have our turn to play. And because we're able to check this left side and we scare the enemy team from wanting to play over on the right side, it allows our ballpoint, and we'll actually watch it from their POV. This is an awesome inkjet entry point to have an aggressive play. So this is why what Fantar was doing was so important, of like checking this ledge, rotating over here, checking these ledges. Like we're stalling them out because we're waiting for our specials, but we're just constantly moving and like our one machine, and we have another machine that's also pressuring as well, but like this one machine is pressuring both sides at the same time. It's like literally it's impossible, but the yellow team with their vision stuck where they're at, if we're rotating fast enough and we're rotating constantly, we have to basically guess. And if we wanted to drop and try to punish them for rotating to the other side, like that's a super hard gamble and we're probably going to lose for it. So that rotation clears up this left side so that when our ballpoint wants to inkjet, because obviously ballpoint went tight, so when it inkjets over this left ledge, it's not really concerned or as concerned as like a carbon or something like sitting over here, because we've already been like poking at that ledge. And that opens up this area for this. And like when we're in this spot, it's just like well, there's a bunch of people over here. We're bound to get something. And good movement to dodge the crab is tough as a crab player, especially when I'm like super focused on stopping the Rainmaker and then oh no, they're inkjetting. I have to like swap targets. It takes some time and it's tough, but like this movement from the ballpoint is super sick. And they're able to get 2, almost a third if they got that last shot off. And so we get first checkpoint and now we're in a good spot. So after we get the first checkpoint, especially if we have a numbers advantage, this is the third stage where the defending team has to play from back here. As the team that's pushing in with blue, they're able to hold this for free. So we get this, we get over here, and then we can hold this right side. And then between these 2 points is just a giant pit that no team, you have to cross if you want to stop the Rainmaker, or you have to cross if you want to, you know, get more points, but it's super dangerous and you can't sit there too long. So now we're in stage 3. And as I was mentioning, like there was a very methodical play to stage 2 when we were going for the first checkpoint. And the same thing will happen here. I don't think we're going to be able to cover all of it throughout the review, but it's just super clean. Like they ended up trading to get the Rainmaker down, but you know, we have a huge pop advantage and we have a ton of P in front of us, so we do go for points here. I think this early in the game, and this might be something where like different people will come up with different decisions of like how you want to approach the pop afterwards. But there is a chance that blue team could play a little bit more slowly and look to work this left side, because you know with double machine we can look to get picks over these ledges, we can look to potentially get a pick over the right ledge. Because it's so early in the game, I'm totally fine with like taking the points, but this is definitely a decision point to be made. What I do appreciate is if we're going to go for the points, we're taking the points, like we're going super fast. But I think there is a decision point here, and Splatoon has so many variables, as with most PvP games, that have a lot of depth and a lot of variables and a lot of things to consider. I think both are totally valid, pushing forward or, you know, sitting back and holding. I'm not like, I haven't really been following the specials and like how close people are to specials. And you know, we're close to a crab that we could potentially push with, but it's a lot to coordinate because so much has happened in like a small amount of time. Yo, Sleepy Nairo. Nairu. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. If I didn't, please correct me. Thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on, and I appreciate decisiveness regardless. 37, it isn't necessarily a game-winning push, but it provides a little bit of comfort, and it allows us to play a lot more in control with a lead like that. And so now instead of pushing Rainmaker with pop, or pushing crab, so instead of using crab to push Rainmaker and get points, now we're using crab to stall out the enemy team so that the rest of our team can make it in. Yeah. And because we already got the points, I'm more okay with us dropping here. Because with this person dropping here on the left, there is an opportunity for the rest of our team to just like move forward. Like we're on like a super tight clock that we need to go and take points if we're going to be aggressive here. But yeah, like, so again, there's like a decision point here of, are we playing for control and getting this person that's out of position? Or do we ignore this person, assume that we're fighting a 3v3 and we continue with points? I do think based off of what we're seeing here, I think we have two different ideas, which I don't love. I don't love that like some people are looking for the pickup and some people are looking for picks. If the Rainmaker was about to reset because it sat there for like 15 minutes or whatever, then, or 15 seconds, then I think that, you know, touching this just to keep the Rainmaker this far forward is totally fine. But we have a lot of time until this resets, and we have two different ideas, so we can't really do either of them all that well. So I would have liked to see more cohesion between the two different ideas. I think, again, both of them are valid. We can push for a little bit of extra points, or we can look for the pick and just hold them in the stage 3. Because even if Rainmaker does reset, if we have control of these areas, it's very easy for one person to just drop back, get the pop, and then move Rainmaker back into position. But there's merit to both, and I don't love that we decided to do different things. But we did, you know, we did win the fight after dropping, so we're still in control. I was lurking, and all of a sudden people raided. I did some nice timing. Followed you and said following. Nairuo? I probably mispronounced it again. I'm so sorry. Or is it Nairu? Yo, what's up, Zeller? Is there a queue? Yeah, so the best way to do it, if you're able to join the Discord, if you don't use Discord, I also made a Google form, but it's easier for me to keep track of them in the Discord. If you join the Discord, it would be easiest. I've been tracking them all through the VOD submissions, but I can manually move them over. I know some people don't actually use Discord, so I want to be able to be accessible. Said it correctly. Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate your patience. So yeah, I just want to keep track of them. But it's easier on me if you do it through Discord, but if you don't want to, or if you don't use Discord or whatever, I want to make sure that it's still accessible to, you know, to everyone. Okay. But yeah, this Booyah Bomb is going to be used to help us hold control. 1 second. You know, we have to give up their snipe because it was really unfortunate we died to the Trizuka there. But, you know, we were slowly pushing back in the mid so that we could move back and, like, you know, hold control of areas in mid and look to potentially fight, you know, contest them in mid and stop their push there. So we were giving up that space. Unfortunately, we got a little bit picked from a nicely shot Trizuka from Volti. So now we lose control of mid completely. And now we're back to this stage 2 of having to fight in this area. And again, from both teams, we're seeing the same types of, you know, we want to take control of this snipe area, and we're going to be moving forward, but we choose different ways of approaching it. So quickly, there's a couple of really awesome splash fed. Feels bad. So in terms of, like, because of the different team comps that we have here, like double bucket and an inkjet versus 2 splashes and a carbon, both teams have to play this stage 2, like trying to take first checkpoint and continue the push forward. We have to do it a little bit differently. So like as a carbon, we need to look for an opportunity to move forward. So, you know, we're using the podium as cover, and we have a Booyah Bomb going off. So the second that this Booyah Bomb goes in, that kind of masks our push, and we're going to use that Booyah Bomb and its Foam Star level visual clutter to be able to make it in and hopefully be able to get in range of the blue team to get splats. So yeah, we use Burst Bomb, we're moving and taking space as fast as we can, and we're able to find almost an opportunity, but that's about as good of a play as you know, the Carbon can find. And that's well thought out. The other thing that's happening in this scenario is that Kiver has a crab and is able to take an off angle approach through mid right here. Yeah, and so Kiver actually moves up a little bit farther past the block I was mentioning earlier. But with a crab over here, we can control this area, and we can also get some shots and some chip in the pit behind it. Anytime we see visual clutter, it's going to be a new thing. Until Square Enix gives me a PS5. Yes. I'm a Foam Star simp, what can I say? So, really good. So, the enemy team was, or blue team, the team that's defending, they were able to stop the Carbon from getting a pick and preventing the crab from getting value. Someone did end up getting picked, but there's a lot happening. So we end up using a bunch of specials, and Volti's able to find an opportunity to make it in. Because there's an initial pick on Cappy, I think, for trying to go for people around mid. And so with the player advantage, Volti does a good job of using the paint that's available to move forward, take space, and look for that big play. And there's enough paint for them to be able to just like swim through without having to throw burst bombs and without having to give away their position. So this is that big play potential that I was talking about earlier from Volti, and just, you know, finding targets. There's not a lot you can do because Fantar just threw a Booyah Bomb, and the Inkjet is covering mid right now and trying to go for picks. So basically there's two people trying to watch the entirety of the push, and there was enough paint for Volti to be able to get through. So that's a really heads up play from Volti. Now I don't know if Cappy needed to go for the stop there. I think especially with having a lead and not having specials and stuff, we probably should have played it a little bit more stall oriented versus like trying to just get picks. Yeah, blue team, we're starting to crumble a little bit when it comes to the defense, which this is something that our team really has to get better at. But yeah, this whole thing happens like because after the big play. So yeah, there was a play trying to capitalize in the mid, and then there's just like so like there's a decision that can be made. Volti gets this huge play, and then there's like, do I try to stall by getting a pick on this Rainmaker, or do we give that checkpoint for free? We're gonna have to give up quite a bit of space. Like they're taking control of this, and this 100% free because it's a 2v4. And, you know, trying to figure out exactly what we need to be doing here. There is an opportunity while they're getting the check. We could potentially look for the Carbon, but we're basically dropping and doing a 1v1. Yo, what's up, Sal? We're wrapping up. But unfortunately, I think we went a little bit too aggressive when it comes to going for the stop. And then we'll actually see something kind of similar. I think the Splash found themselves in a weird spot. No, because they're trying to get into a position where they're actually able to, you know, help with the Rainmaker stop. And unfortunately just kind of get picked. I think they maybe could have played it a little bit more disciplined, but it's tough. And then they're taking points, we're able to get the stop. Yo, Mun, thank you for the follow. I'm running out of time, so I'm hurrying it up. Rewind one more time. But, you know, the enemy team went for points instead of control because they needed the lead. And they're able to take lead, so now we should be able to start cleaning them up and start pushing toward mid. That's so unfortunate. Yeah, we're going to lose a little bit of time because of the picks, and then Volti's able to jump in and get a pick. But, you know, the point's still the same. We're able to start pushing into mid. But I just, again, I go back and watch these games. I'll give you all the link. Just the little bits of check from everyone on the team hitting all of these spots. Like, just the discipline as a machine to, like, check that. Ball points from top left, they're hitting behind this little area that people will always shark. Like, the discipline of what to paint and check before we start moving forward so that we're able to get that cover, that paint down is beautiful. It's beautiful from both teams. But, you know, in a situation where we're running out of time and we need a big push, like, we still have the attention to detail when it comes to checking these areas. It's so good. It is so good. Yeah. Volti's able to leverage the desperation a little bit and find a pick, but it still goes into our favor. And now we're looking for a final push, so we're in overtime. And the enemy needs to stop the 37. Or stop them from pushing past 37 and getting the 22. And we're having to deal with double crab. It's tough. So again, it'd be interesting to get Phantar's perspective of this, but I'm guessing we're running out of time, so we have to kind of force, but we also want to bait them to use their crab so we can, like, actually have a more honest push, because we can't push the 22 with just against two crabs. So we are able to find the pick, and so the other crab has to stall because of the player advantage. And now we're in an opportunity where we can potentially have a more honest push because we're able to force. I don't know why the first person, they're contesting space, the other splash on their team, but we're able to find that pick pretty cleanly, which is nice. Again, I love the positioning here. Jumping, using the snipe area to push and take control of this left side is so good. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, we have 2 down. It just, while all of that's going on, Volti is able to find an opportunity to stop the Rainmaker. We were so close to taking lead. Real quickly, I just want to show the very end from Volti's perspective, because the discipline was like, the way Volti played it was so good. So good. Because their positioning is very interesting as like a Carbon. Because I would generally want a Carbon to play more forward, but they ended up playing it like super good. 30 seconds. And we're going to end the stream after this, so I got to find someone to raid. Because I got team stuff I got to attend to. But real quick, from Volti's perspective. So Volti sits on the bottom of this ramp. Sits on this ramp and just holds this lane. In order for them to take lead, they have to like get up on this ramp to get past 22. So we're just holding control of this. If you want to move forward, we can move forward over here. If you want to move forward this way, there's an opportunity to use this ramp as cover. This is such a disciplined play. And just waiting for an opportunity. Getting paint when we can. You know, like keeping the paint so we keep our options open. But like we're not committing too far forward. Phantar, I cannot state how much I love this snipe play. And just waiting for the opportunity to go in. Again, using the right side as cover. This is probably going to be a little bit... most people would probably assume they would be on this left side behind the pillow. So moving the right side is really good. And so they just flank around with the paint that they had. It's just... man, this was such a good game. It was such a good game. But like Volti did such a good job of painting and staying alive and keeping options open. I probably will dissect this game because it deserves more attention. It's such a good game. It is the best Splatoon 3 game I've ever seen. And I tried to give it as much justice as I could and showing off the parts of it. But if you watch it fully from everyone's perspective, you learn so much. Quickly, I'm leaving and we're going to raid someone. to follow the Splatoon fun. Thank you again, Squidskull, Jimothy, for the raid. But if y'all want to watch it in its entirety from all POVs, feel free to be in here. All right. Anyways, we're gonna move you over to Will Bito's playing. Let's go raid them. Speaking of top level French gamers, y'all are so cracked. Anyways, raid, enjoy yourself, drink water. Thank you so much, Fantar. If you have other clips that you want reviewed, we'll go into deeper reviews later. But if you have more stuff, I'd love to cover it. It's such a joy watching this gameplay. It's such a joy talking to you all, and I hope y'all have a nice afternoon and everything. So take care, and I'll talk to y'all soon.